Welcome to the set of Silicon Valley Impact. I'm Brian Sparks.
I'm Brian Bernasconi, the other Brian.
One of the best Brians.
Oh yeah, one of the two very best.
We want to thank you for being a supporter of the show and listening to the show and all the great people who have been here in these seats. But we're looking for more speakers. So if you're one of these three, if you are an investor, if you are a founder, or you're a subject matter expert, we want you here.
Yes, please. Yeah, we have some of the most creative, smartest, most educated, interesting people in Silicon Valley here on this show. And we want to meet more of you.
So reach out to me on LinkedIn, or you can reach me at brian@siliconvalleyimpact.com. That's brian@siliconvalleyimpact.com. We want to see you here.
Okay,
Brian,
that sounds great.
Yeah, I want to see you here more.
Get in touch. Brian, I love seeing you here.
Yeah.
It's always every week. It's the thing I look forward to most.
Follow us and see us more.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Welcome to Silicon Valley Impact, where business insight meets startup innovation. Brought to you live from Silicon Valley, California. Please give a warm welcome to your host, Mr. Brian Sparks!
Nice, Brian. Who needs coffee and NeuroGum when you have
Right?
you? Yeah, way to go. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining us. Brian, I got to slow myself down. Yeah.
You spend all morning jacking yourself up.
Exactly.
And now you're telling me you got to slow yourself
I gotta
down.
breathe because I'll just launch
They
right
need to
into
invent.
it.
They need to invent a gum that counters the gum. You need
Yeah.
you need an antidote.
Well, this is week 2 on trying the NeuroGum.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Yeah, NeuroGum, who is not a sponsor yet.
Yet.
Yeah, but anybody listening who knows NeuroGum, we'd be happy to speak with them.
So if you're looking for that,
'Cause you're a big fan.
I am. I'm all in now.
Oh yeah, I can tell. Yeah,
So-
a cup of coffee in the morning,
Cup of coffee in the morning,
and then an hour and a half later, you got the NeuroGum follow up.
before the show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually in the afternoon if it's not the show, but I'm realizing that the NeuroGum really, gets me racing for the show.
But do you do it on the daily, or you just do it on the days that we have the show?
I don't do it every day. Well, when I drive, so if I'm headed up to central Sacramento area,
Yeah.
it will work for the drive.
Sure. Oh, that's a good idea.
And so, I mean, for all you who commute, try the NeuroGum, or if you have a podcast.
And there's they have different combinations, right? Like focus and energy. And
Yeah, and we're not a sponsor yet.
I'm just
but they
curious.
do have different flavors.
Well, but what one do you take? Do you know?
I
You don't even
I got
know.
off the TikTok shop. I don't know.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Fine.
Focus.
Well,
Focus. It is the Focus. Yeah, you did pull that up last week. I think it's the Focus one.
yeah. Okay. Well, you don't have any with you. Is it in your pocket?
No,
Okay.
no,
I would like to show it. I'd like to get next time.
Yeah,
next
next
week,
week.
bring some in with you.
we will. It's working well. All right. With that being said, Brian, good to see you again, buddy.
Hey, nice to see you too.
Yeah, we've got.
Didn't you want to talk about my broken foot?
Yeah, you got up to fix the mics, and
I'm
I
wearing a
noticed
boot.
you got a new boot.
I'm wearing a boot.
Yeah. Okay. Story time.
You know what? Every story is most every story is a lame story, right? I mean, it's something went sort of wrong. And usually, I ride motorcycles, as you know.
Yeah.
And I was loading a motorcycle onto a trailer, and I sort of stumbled, and the motorcycle just fell down in my driveway. So this was kind of a motorcycle accident, if you will.
Okay.
But the motorcycle wasn't moving and I wasn't on it. It fell over and smashed my foot. So 350 pounds, 400 pounds came down right on top of my foot and broke a little bone.
Okay.
I'm sure everybody's fascinated.
Amazing.
It's really frustrating. It's really frustrating not to be able to do it, because first question everybody in my life asks is, well, when do you get to play pickleball again?
Well, I was going to ask.
Screw the motorcycles.
No, Brian. What I was going to ask, you're right. What I was going to ask is, oh God, Achilles pickleball. That would have been
Oh, dude, if it was an
one.
Achilles,
Yeah.
that's a long one. No, this is a mere 6 weeks.
Okay, so that's kind of those.
Yeah, if you got an Achilles or an ACL or something, that's a long time. I was really grateful it wasn't one of those things.
Well, good.
But
okay.
it's weeks of no motorcycles and no pickleball and a lot of frustration. And
For how long?
I think a total of 6. So
on the shelf. Okay.
Yeah.
They're on the shelf. Okay.
So enough about me, Brian. Let's talk about you.
All right. So we're just a few days away from the IIT 2026 conference. Be sure to go to IIT2026.org. We have some amazing speakers. AJ Thomas and I will be down there hosting that event. And so you're not going to miss it if you're in the space of startup investing. There's also going to be a health track as well, but a lot going down in Newport. And then we also had, well, when this airs, we'll have had the Femigrants event over at Plug and Play.
Oh, at the Chen.
Yeah, at the Chen.
Are you? What's your role there?
My role, Brian, was and / will be the MC of that event as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So we're really talking.
Well, she does a great job.
Yeah, and I've done an immigrant immigrant focused conference with Startup Grind, and it went really well. And this is, I think I said this last week, but I'll say it again, Brian. This is what I love about immigrant focused events is you get mainly two things. You get amazing, phenomenal stories of how character shines in adversity.
Yeah.
When people come out of their comfort zones, let alone their country, their character is tested. And when you hear these stories of people coming from overseas, all over the world, landing in Silicon Valley, starting businesses, you get the soup to nuts insight on character. And I love that. And then here's the second part of it, Brian.
Great.
With a global economy emerging more and more, we're all going to be in that position. So when you hear these stories, you really have to listen for the hacks, because to thrive in this startup ecosystem, I truly believe you need to hack these character qualities to go overseas yourself.
So, but here's one of the Achilles heels of growing up in America.
Okay.
You're promised abundant, limitless opportunity from the day you're born. And in other countries, not all countries, but in many other countries, that promise doesn't exist the way that it does here.
Generally, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so once you arrive here, you're like at the Disneyland of opportunity, right? Like you couldn't possibly have gone any place better if you want opportunity. And so people thrive here. And I think a lot of Americans take it for granted and never have that aha moment of there's no ceiling now.
Yeah.
Because they were born with no ceiling, and they somehow missed the opportunity of seeing that kind of, well, to be redundant, opportunity.
Yeah, and you really need that contrast in life to develop appreciation for what you have or don't have. And my dad used to always tell me, you never appreciate what you have until it's gone.
Yeah.
And so,
or go someplace and hang out with people who have not what you have.
And we're speaking in generalities in the startup culture.
But this is what makes immigration, like immigrants' stories, so wonderful.
Yeah.
They show up and they just really want to like drink and eat and experience and be all that they can be, right? And I'm speaking metaphorically.
Yeah. So we have and had that event at Plug and Play, and then we'll also have that going on at the IIT2026.org. And the message for the IIT conference this year is open to all.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, it's open to all. I mean, geez, Brian, if you haven't noticed, I'm not exactly from India, but some of the best minds in the world have come here, and they have opened it to all. And so they're really looking at diversity and immigration and different perspectives in order to grow the mindset in business.
Okay, great.
It's going to be good stuff.
Dates again?
That is starting April 21st to the 25th.
Okay.
So we're just a couple weeks away from that.
Yeah, really. Right around the corner.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh, and I feel bad. Sobhan is looking at us. It's like this is the show. This is it. But we have a great guest today. I'm so glad you're here, Sobhan. So I thank you so much. You and I have a lot to talk about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, number one, your energy rips. I love it. You've got that high energy. So I love to dive into conversations with people like you. But you and I did the Femigrants event together. And I say you and I did, it's actually...
It's coming up.
It's coming up but when this airs, it will have happened. So we're kind of talking in that space right there. But I'm excited. I believe we're on the same panel together, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be great. I love that. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But before we go any further with our show and Brian and I continue on with the shenanigans, join us. But first, introduce yourself to our audience, because I'm excited to be here. But for those who don't know who you are, give a little intro who you are.
Amazing. First of all, thank you for having me. My name is Sobhan. I'm president and partner at a company called Plug and Play. We like to call it the biggest innovation platform in the world, that we invest in startups. We also connect startups with big corporations and government and universities to see the magic happens. Our headquarters is in Sunnyvale, California, but we have offices in 70 plus different cities around the world. And to your point earlier, I'm also immigrant. So I would love to talk about my story as well and how I came to the U.S. and what I'm doing here now.
I love it. And we're going to, Brian, you got something here?
I just didn't realize Plug and Play was in 70 cities across the country. Across the country or across the globe?
27 countries.
27 countries.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's impressive, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. They're doing amazing. And the genesis of that story, we may tap into it a little bit today, but definitely you've got your story that we want to tap into. But before we get that, one of the questions that I really love asking all our guests is, we're all playing in the same sandbox. We love the investment space, the startup space. The energy's great. It's fun to play. What is about it that you love?
I think probably the mindset of people that they're still hopeful for making a big change in the world in a positive way. Mm-hmm. And they have this incredible hustle and energy to make a positive impact. Sometimes people want to make money, I understand that, but still like that energy is something that I like. And I see this book behind you that it kind of like, I like it. It says like leading with heart. And I don't think like that everybody leads with heart, but this is some type of conversation I want to have today. But especially the entrepreneurs, that they're not just looking into like make money, but they're looking into like making positive impact in not just for themselves, but also for people around them.
Yeah, I love that. And by the way, for all those of you, there's a book behind me. It's by Dr. John Baird. He was on the show. He's a mentor of mine. He was previously a professor of leadership at San Jose State. He worked in the early years with Steve Jobs. Wow. Has got a long career working with startups. Big name, Knight, the Nike guy, Brian Knight. Anyway, Phil Knight. Mm-hmm. Worked with a lot of the top names in startups. So he wrote a book, him and one of his business partners, about the experience of startup and what it really takes. So, and one of the things that he talks a lot about is, again, those who are passionate and have empathy and connect versus those who are just, mind driven, like this is a good idea. Leading with heart builds the culture and really is the secret sauce with all startups. So great book, great guy. Happy to introduce you too, by the way. Yeah, he's a great mentor and has worked with the best of the best. But let's go back to your beginning, because you talked a little bit about, your story, your genesis. And there's two parts. One, it's what got you into startup, but what prepared you for that? What was kind of your journey? Did you grow up in entrepreneurship? Did you have a family who kind of surrounded you with the best assets and guidance? Or was there some other mixture of that landed you in this space?
Yeah. So I'm originally from Iran, born and raised. And I'm not a doctor, but my father is a doctor. But both my grandfathers, they had tough, I would say childhood, but they were both businessmen and they become super successful. So I saw that success firsthand, but my family was always into education. So I did even my undergrad in Iran. I studied mechanical engineering because in Iran, everybody studied either you become a doctor or you become an engineer. I studied mechanical engineering, and I always wanted to come to the US because I had that mentality of, okay, US is a land of opportunity. I want to be part of this like land of opportunity. And in Iran, especially for me growing up after the revolution, is like, it's a very isolated country, and you don't connect with like people from different nationalities. And I never traveled outside of Iran even until I left. And I remember before leaving to come to the US for my master's degree, my dad asked me, why are you leaving? Like, we have a good family business here. Your life is good here. Why do you want to leave? And I remember I had this picture of kind of was my vision. This international businessman traveling around the world, and like it was landscape of different big landmark of the world in front of his hotel window. And I told him I want to be part of growing international business. That's why I'm leaving Iran. I want to go to the US. And that kind of convinced him that, okay, like he kind of like he knows what he's doing. And I left with that mentality. I came to the US.
But so I gotta pause because I love the insight. What was the calling within you, rather than opportunity? Because again, you led when you came in with empathy and the heart. There was something inside you. What was that?
I mean, I think maybe like this is me more now than back then, as like early 20 years old. Like I was not thinking about what I'm thinking today.
Yeah.
To me today, life is not just what I can do for myself, is what you can do for other people. Because one day, you want it or not, we're out of this, this life in this format that we have right now. So our life, that time is limited. So I always want to go with the heart. That's why that book caught my attention. And then do things not just for myself, for people around me. But I would lie to you if I say I had that mentality at 21, 22 years old. And my family, they had this like big, charity and family business. And I told my dad, is like, I think as a step toward my progress, I should not start with like helping others first. I should take care of myself first and like explore the world and see what's happening in the world, then come back to this charity, that kind of mindset that you and my grandfather have.
I love that, because I never understood as a kid why the flight attendants told you, hey, put your own oxygen mask on first before you start putting on others.
I believe it.
Yeah. And so you had this, it sounds like you just had this calling, this pull, and you wanted to go get the insight necessary. And then with that insight, provide the greatest service, almost like a legacy service, because you saw beyond this life is what I'm hearing. But you didn't have the word power to describe it then. It was just you were going. Yeah.
I think I wanted to like explore the world. I wanted to see things from different perspective, because in Iran, I was very like narrow and didn't have that many options. So first I want to take care of myself. And I think that mentality that you mentioned is correct. But also I feel like life is like a buffet of things that you have option to try. I think like even when you get into like a lot of money, you realize maybe this was also not it. Maybe there's something else. And that's my mindset. That's why I say like what you do for other people matters. But that was not my mentality at 21, 22 years old. I wanted to explore. I want to see the world.
Yeah, you wanted to see what your options were and what would give you the best leverage for meaning, it felt like.
I wanted to see the land of opportunities, because I always heard about it and I saw it in movies, but I wanted to see, okay, what's going on in the U.S.
So you were about 20, 21 at the time.
Yeah.
You said, bye family, headed west. What next? Where'd you land? Did you actually land in the Silicon Valley?
No, I landed in Phoenix, Arizona in August 2010. And if you guys been to Arizona or Phoenix in August, man, that's hot. It's like it's 120
that's
degrees.
Hot. You're right.
Yeah.
And I came to the US with that mentality of LA and New York and these big cities.
Yeah.
And I landed in Phoenix because I have an uncle who lives there. And I was like, what the heck? What's going on here? Everything is very spread out. This was not a picture I had from the US. I was not very impressed, honestly, the first thing. And I went to this business school called Thunderbird Global Business, basically. And what I love about it is like people from around the world that were coming. We had nationality from like 30, 40 different countries. And that's why I applied for that school, plus because I had an uncle in Arizona. And that's where I started in Arizona. And I can tell you more a little bit later.
Yeah, so what was your thought? I mean, you had your uncle, kind of was your soft landing, and that's great. I think I've heard amazing stories of people being welcomed from all over the world, through family, through friends, and actually having to take detours. But you had the opportunity to go to school. What was your thought in terms of business, what you were going to do with it? I mean, you had this idea of like, okay, I'll go to school, take advantage of opportunities, go back with that. But you're landing, it's hot. Grand Canyon probably gets old after a while. So what was next after you graduated, and then where were you headed after that?
So there was a turn actually. Like during the business school, I traveled to like different city, different state within the US. And when I came to California, I was like, okay, this is kind of like what I like. This is like what I saw in the movies.
Yeah.
And I went to LA, I came to San Francisco Bay Area, and I end up transferring. I went to USC, got my master's degree in engineering management. It was a combination of business and engineering, which was kind of like my analytical mind and what my family did as my grandparents. I was my grandfathers as businessmen. And I ended up graduating from USC. My goal wasn't to get into consulting. And I remember, you said like land of opportunities. Dude, I can think of probably I had more than 30, 40 interviews. And I went through like 2, 3, 4 rounds of process. And I was getting rejection after rejection. And I was thinking, this land of opportunities they're talking about, where is it? Like, I don't see it. It's not for me. And I remember I was trying to get into one of the big four for a consultant because I thought that this is a way to get into the business world. And the night before the interview, they take you out for dinner. And I was looking at people coming downstairs and I was like, man, everybody looked kind of like exhausted and not very happy. And I was questioning, is that a path you want to go? Is that
so the people who were coming downstairs were other people
from consulting, this consulting company?
Yeah, you saw it in their face.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I'm not sure if this is a path. I end up not getting that offer, but during the same trip, somebody told me about this place called Plug and Play, that the CEO is also immigrant Persian guy. His name is Saeed, and he said you should go check it out. And I said, can you connect me with him? They did, and I went to the office that Plug and Play still owns in Sunnyvale. And when I get into the building, I looked at these startups coming out of the building. Everybody's excited, passionate. You know, they're trying to change the world in a positive way. And I was like, okay, I want to be part of this. This is what I like. And I met with Saeed to ask him for a job. And long story short, this went on for probably about a year because he was not convinced that I'm the right guy to hire.
So they brought you in kind of as a probationary period. Is that what I'm hearing?
Not even that. Like I was still, at this point, I was still in school and I was trying to get a job. I was getting rejection after rejection. And even with Plug and Play, when I met the CEO, he said, okay, I'm going to give you something, but it was just a word. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I called him, I visited him a couple of times, until I would say probably about a year later. One time I called him and I said, I moved to Bay Area. And at this point I was in Arizona with my uncle after graduation. He said, oh, you did? Okay, come see me in my office. And I went to my room at my uncle's house, packed everything, put it in the car. I said, I'm going to Bay Area. He said, you don't have a job. Where are you going? Get a job and then move. I said,
I love it.
either this job or something else in Bay Area. I think that's where that land of opportunities that people are talking about is there. I want to be part of this like kind of movement, this passionate people that are changing the world. So I drove for 12 hours from Arizona to here and got a hacker home bed space in Mountain View. I remember I was paying $30 per night because that's all I could afford.
Wow.
And I got an internship at Plug and Play. Not for the first 3 months, I did not even have contract, but that's how I kind of find my way to get into the land of opportunities.
But that's that mentality of just all in and go is really one of the common threads I've heard from people who launch into startup. Not only just launch into startup, but people who come from all over the world. It's like they pack up. It's that proverbial, America or bust, right? Silicon Valley or bust. And did you have any trepidation when you were leaving home or leaving your uncle's that you said to yourself, maybe I should second guess this? Or were you like, no, this is what I'm doing, and if I have to, I'll sleep in my car or I'll do whatever it takes? And
I slept in my car for a few nights as well. But I think that's an immigrant mentality, that there's no option B. There's no plan B. This is it. This is plan A, and that's it. Because I didn't have, after school, my other plan would have been going back to Iran, serve the military. I did not want to do that. That was not a good option at all. So for me, this was it. Either get in the car, come to the Bay Area, get this job or something else. But this is it. This is the only plan.
Yeah. And so the energy was there. And you've been there for how long now?
About 11 years, more than 11 years now.
And 11 years, and you're still loving it. When you roll into work in the morning, do you still feel that energy every day?
I would say it's a different energy than before. Because when I joined, we had about maybe a team of 10 or 15 people. Now our team globally is about 800 people. So with that growth come different challenges, of course. I think I get my energy from people in general. I enjoy talking with people, meeting new people, and I get so many of that in our work. Either our team members, different countries, different cities, our startups that we deal with, corporations, government officials, universities, you name it. So that's what I love the most about Plug and Play.
And are you primarily just concentrated in Sunnyvale, or are you getting the opportunity to kind of travel the world and see startups from all over? And what are you seeing? Like, what is that experience like?
No, definitely traveling. Like, I've been to probably about 40 countries, some through Plug and Play, some on personal level. But that's what I also love. As humans, we have so many things in common. Even when you go to, like, let's say Japan or other countries with completely different culture, but you also see how many things we also have in common, which is unique. And that's why that leading with heart also resonated with me. Like, at the end of the day, like, we're all human beings and we're trying to, like, live a good life and leave this world in a better place than we found it.
I have so many questions in terms of your perspective of seeing people, not only people from all over the world, but startups from all over the world. Are you seeing a different approach to startups from different parts of the world, or is it still kind of that same? And start from the early stage. Let's start there. Is it still like, you know, I see a problem in the world, and now I'm going all in to solve this problem, and what is kind of their approach? Because now you have contrast. You have contrast of startups in Silicon Valley, and you have contrast in other parts of the world. Is there a difference in the way that people approach startups versus, you know, globally versus Silicon Valley?
I think so, yes. I think in Bay Area, people, I mean, I can compare it even between Northern California and Southern California. Yeah. I went to school in USC. When you walk around campus at Stanford, everybody talks about how they want to start a startup. And there's so much money here. People grow up and they live and work in this environment that everybody's live and breathe, like starting a company. So the mindset is a little bit different, even from Northern California to Southern California. But of course, when you travel internationally, also big time. Yeah. And like, also I noticed when you talk with startups and founders that are coming from universities, sometimes they have a different view of the world. They thinking about, oh, I want to start a company to, like, wake me up at this time and that. And it's just like, okay, this can be like much bigger problem. You're thinking with the student mindset of like limited work, but maybe look at the challenges that some of the corporations are facing, or how recently we had a unicorn out of Plug and Play, which they're building a data center in space. How futuristic that is, you know? Wow. And they became unicorn in very short period of time. And at GTC, Jensen played a video of this company called StarCloud. So these are I think, like, we need to think a little bit differently. And I think people in Bay Area and Silicon Valley, they have that, like, vast mindset of a possibility in front of them. So I can definitely see the difference in terms of mindset.
And it sounds like a little bit that's in college. I mean, there's this mindset, or maybe it's globally, that there's a work-life balance. You talk about Jensen. They asked him in an interview one time, you know, how's your work-life balance?
No balance. Like,
no. He goes, I work. It's very balanced. It's because he loves what he does, and so he goes, when I'm at work, I'm loving it. When I'm at home, I'm thinking about work. When I'm at the movies, I'm thinking about work. I love what I do, and so there's no apology. And when you hear him say that, he's all in. He's living his passion. He is fully aligned with what he's doing. And I think a lot of people who have the startup mentality, and even when you left home, you had this complete alignment of what you wanted to do, and it was okay if life wasn't balanced from the observer's perspective, but to you and to someone like Jensen, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I think that's in sharp contrast to people who have a 9-to-5 or corporate job, and they go, I punch in, I punch out, I take the weekends off, I get my sick leave, I do. No, you're not. There's no boundaries. It's like you're fully immersed. And I think if you're going to do anything big or do anything with impact, you're fully immersed, and to you, that's balance, because there's this constant reinforcement, and again, you're just going where your heart takes you.
And I think there's no right or wrong. Like maybe
Yeah.
for some people that 9 to 5 is the right approach.
Yeah.
You cannot say like you should have a balance. You should do X, Y, Z. Like
Right.
Jensen does what he does because he loves it, and you do what you do because you love that. And there's no right or wrong. There's a different there's a different answer for each person. And maybe also going back to my previous thing, I mentioned like the mindset in Silicon Valley. There's so many incredible startups outside of Silicon Valley too.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like on average, this is what you see in terms of mindset of people. Yeah.
I love it. And so I definitely, so nowadays, so you started as an intern, is that what I'm hearing? Okay. And then you've kind of slowly worked your way through. When we come back from our jingle, Brian, you're going to do our jingle? Yeah. We'll talk a little bit more about that journey.
Yeah.
Brian, perfect.
Yeah. Oh, great. I'm in.
Perfect. You're cute.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Moralis HR. MoralisHR.com, where you can go to hire the very best talent in the entire, well, let's just say on the planet, right?
Yeah.
Moralis HR is a recruiting company. It's a human-centered recruiting company, and it's built for really the demands of Silicon Valley, moving at the speed of Silicon Valley. From full-time to contract roles and across North America, Moralis connects you with the talent your company absolutely needs. You can avoid fake resumes and fake candidates. And if you're falling behind on your HR needs and your hiring, we call nobody other than Moralis HR. This is moralishr.com. They have the best staff, the best quality candidates, and the best you can ask for in Silicon Valley.
I love that, Brian. Very well said.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And all of you can...
Did I say moralishr.com?
Yeah,
Did I
you
say
did.
that a couple of times?
You said it.
Okay, I want
You
people to
said
know
it
where
when
to
it
go.
counted. Yeah. So once again, thanks to our buddy.
I just want to make sure we're doing the right job for them.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks to our buddy Shelly Morales. She is great. So connect with her on LinkedIn. Connect with her through moralishr.com. All right. So we're back. Did you like that? That live commercial? That's how we do it. Yeah. It's kind of unique.
Yeah.
Good job, Brian.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right.
But really, I mean, all I care about is that, Moralis is getting what they need, Moralis HR.
Yeah. So Sobhan, we're talking a little bit about your journey, talking about the mindset, leading with heart. Let's jump in really quick. I said we were also going to talk about kind of your experience throughout Plug and Play, but we have a lot of founders listening. We have a lot of investors listening. Let's jump in really quick, and then we'll work backwards. The question that a lot of founders are just chomping at the bit to know is, what does fundability look like to you? What have you seen from the founders that come through Plug and Play that has them separated from the rest of the herd?
Mm-hmm. So maybe to answer that question, I share a little bit about what our approach is in general.
Yeah, perfect.
So basically what we do at Plug and Play, we have about 550 corporations that we work with them. This is anybody from the CTO office, the corporate development, the investment arm, R&D, anybody who's looking for external innovation. For us to understand what they're looking for, what are the challenges they're trying to solve, and based on that, we connect them to startups. And we do this in 28 different industries. I started with our automotive practice, mobility. Now we have fintech practice, we have insurtech, we have health, we have enterprise and AI, we have defense, we have new material, you name it. We have 20 plus vertical. And around each of these topics, we create a cluster of corporations and government and universities that are interested in that domain. And every city, every country that we launch, there's a theme. Let's say when we went to Stuttgart, it was with Mercedes around automotive. And now we have 30 different corporations. We work with them there. And when we went to Paris, it was with BNP Paribas, focused on fintech. So there's a specific focus. And then when we come across the startups, obviously our ventures team, they look into the background of the founders, where they went to school, they had a previous exit, how big the market is, what the traction they're getting. But also we put them in front of these corporations. Let's say in automotive, if you give positive feedback from Mercedes and Ford and GM, it's like, oh, okay, this might be a good opportunity, because not only we can give a little bit of money to startups, but we can also help them with business development and growth in terms of go-to-market.
Yeah.
And I've seen companies that we introduced them to more than 100 different corporations, and they came out with 20 paid customers. And that's a way meaningful impact in their life than just give them, for us, small checks from a family office or now from the different funds that we have.
You guys really do it the best. I mean, your relationships and connectivity for the startups is really second to none. And you've been there for, a decade plus. How have you kind of seen the relationships grow? Because on the show here, we're constantly talking about the importance of ecosystem. What do you think has been so unique about Plug and Play's approach to building the ecosystem? Because again, you guys have done it really, really well.
Honestly, I think again, I mentioned it's about people.
Yeah.
And I think we have good people in general that they care, but also we have a different approach of not just connecting our startups that we have investment in them, we have equity in them, to corporate clients. We introduce them to any relevant solution, even if we don't have any equity in them, and we find it's a good match. And when you do this, we had the example of startups we have zero equity, we helped them, and they sold the company, they came back for the second company, third company, because they're
wow.
oh, you guys can actually help me, so I want to continue working with you guys, and now you can invest as well. So it's a very relationship-driven business in any part of it, from investment, from the startups, from corporations, everything is a relationship, and I think it's about people.
Yeah, and you did really well of outlining, when the team, because when you do due diligence, you have several eyes on these companies. And so you started with team. Do you think that is one of the most, if not the most important aspects to an early stage fundable company?
Probably is the team and the founder. And sometimes you think is this person is crazy enough to hear so many no's and so many rejections, and still they're going to pivot and find a way to make that work? Or, with the first few no's, they're going to get disappointed, because you're going to get that.
So let's park there for a second, because you talked earlier a little bit about the rejection you faced, coming out of college. What do you think, and what you observed and experienced, helps people overcome the no? Because it can wear you down. I mean, you're constantly vulnerable. You're giving your idea. You're putting yourself out there. This is what you believe in. And then you hear the no, or you hear the dismissive, come back to us when, and da-da-da-da. How do you get to this resilience?
I think when you still go through that, still is tough. But you have to have a short memory. When you hear no, it's okay, that's it. That's that. Whatever. I go for the next one. Yeah. I think that's one approach. Also, during my time at Plug and Play, there were deals that they told me in my face, that's not a good idea. We're not going to do it. No. But you still find a way to bring them back. And it takes a little bit longer time. And also, I remember early on when I joined Plug and Play, and we were going to different conferences, and I was trying to convince these corporations to come join us as a member. They were looking at me you're crazy? We're not going to come pay you money for the service. Doesn't make sense. Nobody heard the name Plug and Play. But now, 10, 11 years later, when we go to conference, people heard about it. So the brand is different than what it was 10, 11 years ago. And in terms of, answering your question, sometimes you just need to keep going, although it's tough. I remember for myself when it was tough, I was trying to, become happy with little things, small things in life, to just keep going to find that yeses, basically.
So little wins. You found little wins,
yes.
Right? And so you just said something that's important too. So, I mean, I think you have a load of insight. And so I definitely want to back up. You said the brand was important. And so obviously if you're in Silicon Valley, you know Plug and Play at this point. How important it is for a startup to work on their brand. And where do they begin with that? I mean, it's one thing to sell their idea to somebody, but going out and building that brand, what does that look like in the early stage? And what are some of the hacks that you guys did in order to build that trust as you grew in the last 10 years? Because I know you guys do a lot with podcasts and events, and you do a lot of outreach. What are some things that the startups could kind of learn from you and what you've seen? Yeah,
I think our CEO is business development machine himself. He travels more than anybody that I know. Probably half of the year he's gone. He's traveling in the plane somewhere. But I also think what he does and Plug and Play did well over the years is like building that trust with some corporation, some client. And also, let's say when we were getting into automotive industry, you need that first big customer. I think for us in automotive was Mercedes-Benz. And then when Daimler, when you there's a brand that trusts you, you can build around that brand. So with Mercedes relationship, we went to like BMW, we went to, I don't know, Jaguar Land Rover, Volvo in Sweden. So you need something to build on it. The first one obviously is going to be like much harder.
Yeah.
But when you have the first customer, if you build that trust with them, if you build that foundation with them, you can build around it.
So build a relationship. And the other thing I heard, and is a theme with you, is just showing up. You know, no matter where you are, if you need to be there, showing up. And it sounds like your CEO did the same thing. It's like he would travel, he would go, he would show up. I mean, now we have the luxury of Zoom, but getting that FaceTime, not FaceTime on screen, but face to face with people makes a difference.
Oh, 100%. I still remember like during COVID when we had to take all these calls through Zoom. For me, there was something that was not connecting. Like, where there's a difference when you meet people over Zoom versus when you meet them in person. So if that client is in Japan, if that startup is in like Germany, if it's in like Egypt, if it's like in Brazil, once you go there and show up and shake hands and there's an energy with people that it doesn't translate when you are meeting online. So I honestly believe in like in-person activities more than anything. You
know what I love about Silicon Valley? You can go to Luma or Eventbrite and check out events that are happening, and any given week there's 1,000 events happening. And I truly believe that, you know, I know founders are busy, but what I'm hearing you say is devoting time to, you know, being in front of people could never I mean, what I'm trying to say is, Brian, even though I'm stumbling over my words, is you can't.
You're doing great, Brian. You just keep going, man.
Thanks, buddy.
We're all here for you.
Yeah.
Everybody believes in you.
Yay. So there's no substitute for FaceTime. There's
no nice, dude.
Yeah. There's no substitute, even though that Zoom is nice. It sustained us for a little bit.
Those are all great, but I think like, especially like when you want to have a bigger deals, you need to show up in person.
Yeah, show up. I love that. And I think that's, again, another theme for the immigrant story is they show up. And it's not plan A, plan B. It's the plan. Just
that's it.
Show up. I love that.
The only plan.
It's the only plan. And so... Go ahead, Brian.
Well, I'm just going to say, I mean, it's not the only plan. From there, you have to do a lot of other things, but I think it's the baseline, right? I mean, at the very least, you're going to show up, you're going to chop wood, you're going to carry water, you're going to return phone calls, right? You're going to return emails. You're going to be, at a minimum, able to execute some of the things that everybody just expects from you on a regular and consistent and daily basis. And I'm not sure everybody really understands that.
Yeah.
I think that's actually as simple as it is, I don't think it's as easy to understand as we can sit here and say it is.
Yeah.
Can I say something? Because I was actually thinking about my early days at Plug and Play. That was the plan, but I remember like probably the first year and a half, I was questioning myself, what am I doing? I'm just sending some emails, like nobody's answering me, nobody's like, finding our value proposition. It's like, again, rejection after rejection, similar to that I got from like after school or during school. But again, those little wins, little small things that make you happy to keep you going, it matters. And again, to your point, Brian, like, again, even the plan is not easy. It comes with like a lot of ups and downs until you find the way.
Yeah, it's not success only. I mean, you're going to have the desert pieces, right, where it's like, what am I doing here?
You'll stumble, you'll trip, maybe, right? There's speed bumps.
Yeah, but
sure.
But you keep showing up.
Speaking of which,
no better sound in show business, Brian. There's no better sound. But hey, real quick, I want to drop this on everybody. I want to tell everyone a little bit about Stack Ventures. Stack Ventures is transforming real estate into a full stack ecosystem solutions for the East Bay residency and global startups, backed by Baring Capital, located in the heart of Uptown Oakland at 1900 Broadway and 1950 Franklin. You want me to give a little more camera time, Brian?
I think the audience wants to see you, your beautiful blue eyes.
All right, okay, all right, hold on, let me lean into this. Stack Space has 3 towers with over 1.5 million square feet of luxury living, event space, data storage, data space, okay, resort style amenities, EV mobility, office space, and access to the biggest startup community. Well, I mean, maybe behind Plug and Play. One of the biggest startup communities in the Bay Area. Check out stackspace.com. That's STAK, stackspace.com. Brought to you by Stack Ventures.
Beautiful.
Thank
Well
you.
done, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate
I'll work
that.
on the eye contact, Brian, a little bit. I see what you're
It's
saying.
new. We're still working out the kinks, right? We're not going to
Yeah.
be perfect. We're trying this.
Yeah,
I think
that's
we're doing
good.
a great job. I think that everybody appreciates what they're hearing.
Well, what I'm really appreciating is this conversation because we're getting great insight into what startups need, the founder experience and the immigrant experience, and we're really fleshing out what it means to lead with heart. You notice it on the book, and get the mindset necessary to succeed in whatever transitions that you take in life. And you need transitions in order to make a difference. And so I love this conversation. We were talking a little bit earlier ago about what fundability looks like. We talked a little bit about teams. We unpacked that. What is kind of another thing that a fundable company demonstrates to you as something that could be, a hit?
I think these days probably have something with AI.
Oh yeah.
No,
what is that? Yeah.
No, but joking aside, I think I also covered that, a little bit of attraction they have, how big that market is that they're going after, and what kind of traction they're getting early on from when we put them in front of like other investor, other potential customers. Because for us, focus is on B2B investment, and then getting feedback from like multiple sources of corporations and different angle to look at it is important. So the traction and the market is also important.
Okay, so we got team, we got traction. We talked a little bit, a bonus about branding. What else is top of mind that you go and it could be anything, but maybe for you, maybe not so much the team, but what is it that you really like seeing? And you can double down on teams, you can double down on traction, but is there something else that a founder could hear if they were in the room listening, and some of them are?
Honestly, I don't know. I think probably something about the founder personality, because you, especially when you invest early stage, you're betting on the founder, because it's not Series B or in Series C. There are a lot of numbers to crunch. It's just a personality of this founder. Are they like strong enough to, as we talked about it, like hear a lot of no's and keep going and figure out all these ups and downs of the startup journey. Yeah. So I would say like the personality is also important, and like that's a part is like they say like investment is like a little bit of art as well, and some people say like there's a gut feeling that when you meet with like different people. So I don't know if it's a good answer or not, honestly. But
no, I think that's a great answer. I think someone needs to say it, where it's just there's this intangible, where someone walks in and you may see a 1,000 pitches. But then in walks the next person and they're in color. They may be 1,000 pitches, they're all in black and white, and they walk in and they're in color. And that's the intangible, because you know that they can attract talent, they can grab the market, they can make things happen, they can move the needle. And it's not really measurable, but you sense it.
Yeah, there's something about people energy. Like, let's say, like when we were talking last on the phone, I was like, I never met you, but I was like, he has a good energy. I want to go meet him. We're going to have this panel later, and I'm going to do this podcast. There's something about people that I think is hard to put, like maybe so far, maybe someday in the future somebody comes up with it. But something about people, even like when it comes to hiring, sometimes I feel like, I mean, it's not very right to say it, but we all have our own biases. Sometimes very early, like when you meet with somebody, it's like, I like them or I don't like them, or even in personal life, in friendship and meeting new people, there is something that I cannot put a kind of like measurement next to it, but energy level is there.
Well, I love the term likability. There's a bunch of TED Talks around likability, but if I were to put a finger on it, it's enthusiasm. When you meet somebody who is enthusiastic, it's contagious. And I think the show, I mean, one of the prerequisites for people to be on the show is you just got to be a good person. And good people, attract more good people. And that's infectious. Yeah. And so if you're able to, bring that into a business setting, and you can, capture the market with that enthusiasm for what you're doing. I mean, obviously you have to have the empathy, like we're solving a problem or we're bringing in an opportunity. One of my favorite stories, I forget the guy's name, but have you ever heard of the Savannah Bananas? So the Savannah Banana, you heard of the Savannah Bananas?
No. I'm eager to hear.
So they're kind of like a minor league. They were a minor league baseball team, and they still are. But their owner bought the team and turned them kind of like into the Harlem Globetrotters. Like they'll do dances between innings, between pitches. They wear yellow. You've seen this?
Yeah. I think I've seen some shorts on this.
But there's a show. There's a show, and there's enthusiasm, and people love that. So win or lose, they're entertaining, they're enthusiastic, they're engaging. 3 E's.
Yeah. I think also just joy, like people who live in joy. Right, and experience joy and share joy and bring joy with them into the room.
Yeah, and so here's the big message. This is my TED Talk, Brian.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
Can I be on the stage with you when you do your TED Talk?
Yeah,
can
absolutely.
I just want to be on a stool like Guillermo, and I'm just going to sit there and kind of like listen and be your hype guy.
Absolutely.
They'll be like, "What's that dude doing there?"
Yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing: is people are creating a story, a narrative. And they're leaving space for you to be a part of it. And so it's not just that you're telling a story about what you're doing, you're including others in it. And I think if I can bring it full circle to the immigrant story. The immigrant story, or anyone who's making a big pivot in their life, they are all asking for help. Hey, I landed here. I'm outside of my comfort zone. I'm going through a culture shock. I need help. And to ask for help, or ask for someone to contribute to what you're doing in an effective way, is asking people to let you love them. Right? So there's that openness. That's my TED Talk, man. You just blew my mind.
Everybody loved that TED Talk, dude.
All right.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
my 30 second
I thought
TED
that
Talk.
was great.
Right.
Well done.
Thanks, buddy.
Sure. I'm glad we brought it in front of a live studio audience here.
Pat my brow now.
Can I say something? Because what you said actually resonated with me. I was reading somewhere that the two of the biggest fear that people have in general is like, number one, I'm not loved, or number two, I'm not good enough. And I think as an immigrant, when I came to the US, oh man, and maybe even it goes back to my childhood, like that I'm not good enough was big. I did many years of therapy and then personal development to kind of overcome that thought of like, what's going on in my head. And I'm really big in like tracking different things in terms of my health. I track my sleep, how many steps I take.
You got the Oura,
yeah. But I also always thinking like the biggest, most important thing that we're not tracking is our thoughts. Like, what do I get engaged with on a daily basis in interaction with people? Even when you're meeting with people, you have this thought of, okay, like, did I say this right? Or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are a lot of thoughts in between that we're not tracking. And what we tell ourselves is the most important thing in the world. And to me as an immigrant, I had this challenge of like, I'm not good enough. And like, one of the goals I had at some point was like, I want to be part of like, big podcasts and be out there and talk with people. And the first thought I had was like, but you don't have anything to share. Like, what do you want to be on podcasts? You don't. And I was very shy when I came to the US. I could barely speak English.
Yeah.
And still my friends make fun of my English and accent, but that's a separate conversation.
That's only out of love. They love you.
Yeah, they love you.
We only tease when we love.
But my point is like, I had that thought of, okay, I don't have anything to share, which is not true, which is not correct. Because we all do have our own stories. We always have something to share. And overcoming that I'm not good enough kind of wrong mentality is what can help you grow. Because like a lot of times when I was younger, I was thinking like, oh, because of that mindset is I'm pushing myself, I'm growing. And yes, maybe there's some truth to it. But again, like what repeat to yourself in your own mind matters a lot. And I did this
I deserve to be here and I'm worthy of being here. And whatever I don't know, I can learn.
That's very fair.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about this in a long time, Brian. I mean, I haven't heard it mentioned here in a long time. The imposter syndrome, right? That everybody experiences to some degree in their lives.
Yeah.
Right. We used to talk about it a lot. It hasn't come up in a while. And I think it's highly relevant because we all feel it at some point.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, when you go to like the bigger stage, that thought maybe gets bigger at some point. And there was this like retreat I did called Hoffman Process in Northern California.
Oh, yeah.
That they actually teach you, like in the West, we are very focused on our intellectual mind, but there are different ways of like absorbing information and like understanding the world. And the second one is your body. Like we feel things in our body. I remember one of my coach was saying like, okay, this emotion, where do you feel it in your body? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. But I realized there are a lot of ways of understanding the world around us. Intellectual mind, the body, the emotional self, and they call it also spiritual self. And what I also wanted to say is like, for myself, I always like write like, what are the visions I have, where do I want to get, what are my goals, and sometimes just like the fact of writing it down, it just send that message to like universe or to yourself, to your own mind, that hey, I want to get there. And this kind of like came up in my mind that I wanted to be part of a podcast. I never thought about it, and now I'm sitting here with you, you know, and again, push back on that thought that you have in your mind that I'm not good enough, I don't have anything to share.
Yeah,
because we all deal with that.
What I'd love, I just heard you say, is one, the story in the beginning is one of resilience, like just go, right? But you've said a few things, like one, I want to acknowledge that you've talked about, you know, having, you know, a father figure, you know, you had your dad around you, you had the uncle, so you definitely had that structure. You just mentioned, you know, hey, you've done therapy, you've done coaching, you've done that. I've done all that as well. And what I think we gain from that in life with that mentality, reaching out for the help, so there's that part as well, is you learn to see things from multiple perspectives. And when you can see things from multiple perspectives and understand things at different stages in life, when the imposter syndrome shows up, you don't just listen to one voice, you actually challenge it.
Yeah.
You go, okay, I may not feel the best in this, or I may not be, you know, feel like I'm winning right now. But then, and then in comes this contrasting voice. And we talked about that at the beginning of the show, is the power of the contrasting voice. And so that showed up. And I think where that comes from for a lot of us are mentors. It's good role models, whether it be brothers, family members, fathers, mothers, whoever it is, that are good role models. Sometimes it's reaching out to a coach. You saw the Leading with Heart, one of my biggest mentors in life. And so when you have good friends, you mentioned friends, when you have that support system, that infrastructure of people around you, then the battle within becomes manageable because you're not isolated within when you know you have people around you. And I think that journey is also, you know, not to stretch the meaning too far, is also an immigration story where it's like, how do you go from within or go from without to within? Like it's just experiencing life from different perspectives to enrich and enhance the time we have here.
Yeah. What you were saying, like, it reminded me of something I learned there. They're teaching monks 4 things. 2 things to remember. The good things other people did for you in order for you to get to where you are.
Yeah.
Because then you realize you were not alone. You did not do it by yourself. Other people help you.
Yeah.
And that keeps you humble. And number 2, what to remember is like the wrong thing you did to other people, because you realize you're also flawed. You're not perfect. And I'm going to butcher this. There were 2 other things and that to forget. Good things you did to others, because again, it boosts your ego and you feel like, oh, I did it. And then bad things that other people did to you, because then you would go to that victim mentality. So I really like this, like four ways of 2 things to forget and 2 things to remember, to keep you humble and not feeling like, okay, I did everything by myself at the end of the day.
So I've always loved to kind of synthesize this, what Ray Dalio says from his perspective of success. And for those of you who don't know who Ray Dalio is, he's one of the biggest investors in the U.S. Legend, absolutely a legend. But I saw him speak one time in San Jose, and he says there's 3 things that I believe that bring about success in life, and not just in business, but in life. He says you've got to be hungry, humble, and smart. And though that stuck with me, the humble part stuck with me, because you can be really smart, but then there's no humility. And then you can also be really smart and even humble, but not hungry. And then you stay stuck. And then what you know just dies anyway. It just withers. And so I'm hearing that in this conversation of not only in your journey, but in the founders you've seen succeed, but also in moving forward in our lives. These are the qualities that really exemplify those who do well in relationships in life. I love this. This is good stuff. We can geek out on this all day, Brian. So before we start to wind down, because dang, we've already got an hour under our belt already. Wow. Yeah, it goes quick, right? It's a lot of fun.
I thought it was only 20 minutes so far.
I know, right? We've done 2 commercials and talked about a lifetime. So what's next for you? What's kind of on the horizon? What would be a win for you today if this was your TED Talk, or what's kind of on the horizon now for you?
I think that's still work in progress, but there's part of me that, again, I spent more than a decade at Plug and Play. I want to see this continue growing and expanding and flourishing, and maybe for us to have bigger funds. not just from corporate LPs, but also from endowments and other type of investors. And again, we're in 27 countries. I think this can get bigger because, again, it's also the impact of what we do to help that entrepreneur sitting in Uzbekistan to connect them with capital.
Yeah.
I find that very meaningful. And especially in the environment that we're in today, I think when you do business with certain cultures, certain places, you realize how familiar we are than different, and also the more connected we are. So I hope we can do that more in terms of that influence in the global business economy in general. So like growing plug and play business, but also I still have part of me that want to do something also like for me as a founder, because when you're doing an investment, you feel like, oh, I'm also sitting on the sideline. You see these founders come in and like they grow, and like a lot of also like failures as well. We only talk about successes, but there are a lot of failures as well. And there's that risk of, okay, what if I go and then start something and I fail, and I don't know, and that's possibility. But part of me wants to see this plug and play growing, and as my new role as president from beginning of this year to also like mark my kind of like impact on our business in a more meaningful way, but also like doing something on the side as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, and if you ever want to do more of these talks on the side and come in, man, I loved having you on the show. This was really good. You have great insight. You got to, and it's no surprise you recognize the book heart. You got a big heart. So I'd love this conversation. Anytime you want to come back, please come back. We can geek out on anything you want to geek out on.
Thank you, man. It was an honor to be here. I really enjoyed it, and thank you so much for having me.
Last question, how can people connect with you?
Probably my LinkedIn would be the best.
LinkedIn.
Or also if you're a startup, you can go to plugandplaytechcenter.com, and also like you can fill up your information there. Our team, we have like a big team, like depends on what industry you're in, they reach out to you. Or if you're corporates or government officials, or you want to connect with Plug and Play, LinkedIn, our website.
And make no mistake about it, Plug and Play, they know what they're doing over there. So if you're a startup, get connected with them. Once again, thanks for being on the show. You're amazing.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Brian, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button now and like and follow wherever you're listening. Thanks again to Morales HR and Stack Ventures. Brian Sparks, you are 1 in a million. Don't ever forget it.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, we'll see you.
all next
Thanks,
week.
everybody.
Stay safe.